An air passenger rights advocate is encouraging passengers who were trapped on the tarmac for hours during the snowstorm to sue the major airlines. He says their treatment amounted to forcible confinement and violates Canadian regulations. CTV's Shannon Patterson reports.
At the peak of the snowstorm, as YVR ground crews worked to clear runways and de-ice aircraft, hundreds of passengers sat on packed planes on the tarmac.
And they say, oh, now the weather has gotten worse, the de-icing isn't going to work, so now we're not going to fly out. But there's no one to deboard the plane, so we're just going to sit here.
We're waiting, and that waiting became 11 hours before we actually made it to the gate.
And that's contrary to Canada's Air Passenger Bill of Rights, which states airlines must allow passengers to disembark after a maximum of 3 hours and 45 minutes on the tarmac.
Keeping people for 10, 12 hours in a plane, that's completely unreasonable. It's also criminal. It is arguably a case of forcible confinement.
But the airlines insist it was unavoidable, that frigid temperatures and rapid accumulation of snow created gridlock on the tarmac, making it impossible to get passengers off grounded planes. Air Canada saying in a statement, some people were on board aircraft for significantly longer periods than expected. While not desirable, having customers remain on aircraft was the only safe option during such a situation.
I don't accept that it was impossible to get the passengers off those planes. It would have been more difficult. It would have required maybe more money, more resources, and the airline has to incur those expenses.
And Lukacs says those flights should never have been allowed to board in the first place.
Aircraft should not be leaving the gate, especially if there's a storm coming, without a backup plan of what happens if they cannot take off and the passengers who want to get off, as per the law.
He expects the airlines will face fines from regulators and is encouraging passengers who were stuck on the tarmac to launch a class action lawsuit.
They should sue the airline for general damages, for inconvenience, for the stress, for being kept without food and water for a long time.
It was really traumatic, and I don't feel that it's right for someone to keep people on a full plane for 12 hours.
Finally, getting off the plane was just the beginning for many passengers, now tasked with finding another flight or giving up on their Christmas holiday altogether. Shannon Patterson, CTV News, Vancouver.